So, when is the right time to tell a man about your past? Should you tell him everything up front, or should you wait until things get serious? This was a question for one of the Heal Squad members, and so I wanted to answer it. If you're new here, welcome to Heal the New Sexy, where we discuss all things healing, self-love, and relationships. My name is Cynthia. I am a licensed therapist and relationship coach. So I want to talk about when you should tell a man about your past. Listen. We all have a past, okay? And so sometimes women may feel nervous about being rejected. And so you may be kind of contemplating, when do I tell him about things that I may have experienced or major life events that I think that he needs to know? And so I'm going to answer that question today. So I promise to break down when and how to share your past in a way that protects your peace and sets the foundation for a healthy relationship. Anything you share should be because it's going to be a part of the relationship, a part of the foundation, and it's going to help and assist you guys have a healthy relationship. I'm going to throw something out there. I'm going to get a little ahead of myself, but this is something that as a trauma therapist, I do a lot of trauma work in my day-to-day life. I talk to women who've experienced different forms of trauma. And one thing I tell them is that everybody is not going to have the capacity to hold your trauma. They're not. And so there may be some things that stay between you, God, your therapist, and your coach. Your romantic partner, your husband, your boyfriend, your boo, your bae, your man may not have the ability or the capacity to hold that, okay? And so that's something to keep in mind. As women, we want to be very transparent. We want to tell him everything. But you need to know what to tell and when to tell and how to tell it. All right, so let's dive right in. Like I said, everyone has a past, but not everything needs to be disclosed immediately. A lot of women feel obligated to confess everything out of fear, guilt, or a need to prove their worthiness. Let's be very clear. I think also women share because you're trying to build intimacy with him. You don't build intimacy with a man the same way you do with your girlfriends. With our girlfriends, we can tell them any and everything, and that makes us closer. I want you to know that in the beginning of the relationship, that may do the opposite. It may actually repel him, okay? It takes a lot of maturity for you to confide in a man and for him not to hold it against you, okay? It's important for you to know that your past is a part of you, but it doesn't define you. You're not defined by your past. I've said this in another video. I work with women who were dancers, who were engaged in sex work, who now are happily married, okay? You may be like, oh my gosh, Cynthia, like the things that I did in my past or happened to me in the past, I can't imagine a man accepting me for who I am and loving me and marrying me or wanting to be in a serious committed relationship. And that's the farthest from the truth. But it's about how you disclose that information, okay? There are some things that you need to disclose up front. Take your time and pace yourself. So when is the right time to share? Let's talk about the wrong time. Let's start there first, because that's the juicy part, okay? That's the juicy part. First of all, in the first few dates, that's not the time to share, all right? It can overwhelm him and also be used against you. And, okay, so I heard the saying that men put women in 3 categories. 3, that's 5 figures. 3. Friend, freak, or forever. Now, if you talk too much, you could be moved from forever to freak. Or be moved from forever to friend. So it's really important that you're mindful about what you share and what you disclose. I believe the beautiful Heal Squad member who was asking this, she said that she had had some surgeries. And so I'm guessing that she was asking this in the preface of, if I'm getting married to him, when do I share or disclose that I've had these surgeries and there may be some scars, okay? Now, you don't need to share that in the first couple of dates. If you have, let's say you have a chronic illness or something like that, you don't need to share that in the first couple of dates. If you had trauma, you don't need to share that in the first couple of dates. If you've had some surgeries or something like that, you don't need to share that within the first couple of dates. Again, think about capacity. Everybody, I'm a therapist in these streets, okay? My capacity for information is a whole lot different than somebody else who may not be a therapist, okay? He's not your therapist or your coach, so he may not have the capacity. You don't want to overwhelm him, and you also don't want to put yourself in a situation where he's judging you for your past. Again, we only share anything that's going to build a healthy relationship. It's the wrong time to share if it's out of fear or a trauma response. Sharing to test to see if he'll stay. Ladies, don't do that. Don't do that. Sometimes if you are like have an anxious avoidant attachment, AAA, you engage in that kind of push-pull, okay? So it's really important that you don't try to set tests up to see if he really likes you. If I do this, if I push him away, what will he do? And sometimes, especially if you haven't done your healing work, you'll engage in that type of behavior. And if you need a coach to help you as it relates to healing, especially from some problematic patterns in your childhood that are now showing up in your dating, you want to click the link in the description and you want to schedule a time to work with me, okay? Now let's talk about the right time to share. When trust has been built. When emotional safety is present, when he appears to be emotionally intelligent and mature. Also, when there is a mutual investment. Don't share and it's just a situationship or it's an entanglement. Listen, we don't, okay, first of all, let me clean it up because somebody be like, Samithia, I'm cleaning it up, okay? I'm cleaning it up. Wait a minute. All right. Okay. What I was going to say is that we don't share intimate details during pillow talk. We don't do that. You don't do that in a situationship. You don't do that in entanglement. That is not your man. I'm only putting that out there because I know some of y'all is engaging in that. Why, I don't know. Okay? Right? But you disclose this type of information where there is mutual commitment and mutual investment. Both of you have decided to be exclusive. Both of you are dating and desire one another. That's when you share this information, not any second before, okay? I see women getting so emotionally invested in men who have not even said, you are my woman, I want to marry you, I want to change your last name, I want us to build a life together, and their behavior is matching that. Just like I said in the previous video, why you shouldn't tell him that you're abstinent, I want you to guard this like it's Fort Knox. Whatever it is that you feel like I need to tell him this, because many times you're trying to tell him that because you want him to make a decision. You feel like whatever this thing is, that it's a deal breaker. And you may say, can I be free to talk to y'all like if we was in a counseling session or a coaching session? I know women who have, hopefully they don't flag me for this, have STDs. Okay, say that. They have STDs. And in therapy, we've worked through, how do I share this with a man who I'm interested in dating? How do I share this with him? When do I share this with him? Okay. Now, this is the thing. I know men and women who are married with STDs. So whatever the thing is that you think that's going to cause you to be rejected, will a man reject you? Yeah. If a man rejects you because of that thing, that's not your man. It's okay. But whatever that thing is, stop. Don't be in such a rush to share it because he doesn't know you. You're a wonderful woman. You're smart. You're articulate. You're talented. You're gifted. And I think I saw in one video, a woman was like, I don't even know what my purpose is. Baby doll, you have a purpose. God created you to solve a specific problem. So even if you feel like you don't, you do. You her. You that girl. Okay? But don't try to put the cart before the horse because you're trying to save yourself from rejection. You're like, let me go ahead and say it so that if he rejects me now, then at least my heart isn't in it. Okay? Don't do that. All right. When it's relevant, if your past affects your present, then you need to disclose it. All right. So past relationship, family dynamics, or even personal growth. So let's say you are, because I told you I stepdaddy season. Now, baby, I can't wait to do that whole series. I'm going to do a whole series on stepdaddy season and dating as a single mom. Okay. So boom. Let's say, for instance, you have a tumultuous relationship with the father of your child or children. You've done your very best to create a co-parenting relationship. However, sometimes we know people don't get along. Okay. We know these baby daddies be petty. All right. So you share that. He asks you, and let's say the first date he asks you, how's the relationship? Oh, it's fine. Smithy, that's lying. No, it's not. It's fine as of right now in this second. It's fine. But later on, you say, hey, I want to talk to you about the relationship between me and my children's father. The reason why I didn't share this with you initially is because I didn't know you at that time. But now that we've made the decision to be exclusive or serious, I want to share with you the dynamics of that relationship. Everything doesn't have to be a conversation on the first couple of dates, okay? As it relates to family dynamics, I hear a lot, and I think I'm going to do a video on this. And if you would like me to, please comment below. I hear often people saying if they didn't come from a two-parent home, or if she came from a single family home and every woman in her family is single, they need to leave her alone. We cannot determine the families in which we were born in, because if we could do that, we all would be in happy, healthy, rich families. So it may be a matter of you having to tell him, listen, I have a family that I'm the scapegoat of my family. There's a lot of dysfunction in my family. So I have made the decision to separate myself from them because I don't want to continue to be mistreated or mishandled by my family. So I have separated myself. You don't need to tell that on the first date. He asked you about your childhood. Oh, I grew up, like me, I grew up in Germany. I love Germany. Well, what was your favorite part? Going to, there was this theme park called Warner Brothers. I used to love going to the Warner Brothers theme park. I used to love going to Geyserville. I used to love, going to the pool in the summertime. That was the best thing. I don't need to tell him that I grew up in a home with 2 combat veterans and there was domestic violence. I don't need to tell him that on first date. Okay. And then as it relates to your personal growth. So let's say, for instance, you were married before. And let's say you were married young. Let's say you got married around 21 and he asked you, so why did you guys end up getting divorced? So you could say, I was really young when I got married. As I got older and matured, it's not that we grew apart, but we, in our maturity, became different people. And so we realized that it would be best for us to get a divorce because we were 2 totally different people. We did not grow together. As we became adults, we grew apart. Okay? You don't have to go deep in that. So what should you share? Only share what is necessary and adds value to the relationship. If it doesn't add value, then you don't need to share it. Then you stay between you, God, your therapist, or your coach, or your girlfriends. All right? If it adds value, share it. If it doesn't add value or it's going to take away, don't share it. Focus on how you've healed and grown rather than trauma dumping. Be sure that whatever you're sharing, it's because you have grown past that. The young lady who talked about having some medical procedures and scars, she doesn't have to share that from a place of shame. She could say, I have been healed from, and as a result of that, I had a few surgeries and I have some scars, right? Not, when I was young, I was born with this and I had had a couple of surgeries and, it kind of left me disfigured. No, you healed. I healed, I overcome. I'm confident in my skin. I feel comfortable in my skin. I just wanted to let you know because we plan on getting married and, I'm looking forward to our honeymoon and I just didn't want you to be taken off guard. That's it. Simple, simple. All right. So examples of things that may need disclosure. Past relationships that impact your current dating approach. Now, again, you're not giving him all the scoop. You're not telling him this person mistreated me, this person mistreated me. You're not saying that. But you may say, in a previous relationship, I dated somebody who wasn't communicative. And I realized that that's very important to me. And I really appreciate it when you reach out to me and you are consistent in communication. Okay. Major life events like divorce, children, financial issues, especially if you're getting married, okay? You're going to want to discuss those things. Now, this one, it's up to you, whether you disclose past abuse and what type of abuse that you experienced, okay? Again, that's up to you whether or not you disclose that. There are some women who have disclosed that. There's someone who haven't. It is up to you on what and when you should, what you should tell him about your past, all right? So let me teach you, how to tell him without fear. I want you to shift your mindset. You're not seeking approval. You're not seeking approval. You're sharing information with him. You are sharing this information to build deeper intimacy so that he can get to know you for who you are. I'm going to say it one more time. You're not seeking approval. This is not about your worth. This is not about your value. This is about sharing information. Okay? Even if he decides to end the relationship because you shared this with him, guess what? That doesn't change your worth and your value. Okay? So here is a confident and direct way to share something. I want to share something important with you because I value honesty in this relationship, or I value transparency in this relationship. So I want to share this with you. And then you share whatever it is. Be prepared for him to ask questions. Observe his reaction. This will tell you if he's emotionally mature or not, because this is the thing. There are some scenarios in which a man may present to be very emotionally mature, and there may be other situations in which he's not. It's for you to pay attention to. Okay, that's for you to pay attention. If you feel emotionally unsafe after you told him, or his behavior changes, then he's not healthy. All right. If he judges you or pulls away, that's the information that you needed to know. You need to know that because sooner or later that was going to show up, because that's a part of his character. All right. So I want you to know that your past does not disqualify you from love. There is nothing that you've done in your past that will prevent you from having a healthy and happy relationship. There may be some healing work that you have to do, but there's nothing that's going to prevent you from having the love, except for yourself if you get in your way and you stay in your head. All right. I want to encourage you that if there's anything in your past, especially if you're struggling with shame or guilt because of something that may have happened to you or something that you did, that it's so important to practice self-forgiveness. It's so important to forgive yourself for the things that you may have done in the past, because that's a key component in healing. At least I believe so. All right. So I look forward to talking to you down below in the comments. Be sure to comment, like, and if you're new here, subscribe. This is Heal the New Sexy. My name is Cynthia. Bye-bye.